Hi there, Mike Thornton here from Pro Tools Expert, and today I'm going to take a look at the PPMulator XL plugin. Now this is a really interesting plugin. The original form has been around quite a while, the PPMulator Plus, and as you can see it basically produces an on-screen version of a quasi PPM. So if we go in here and click the plus sign, and we can go into the settings. And you can see at the moment that I'm using it as effectively a BBC PPM, because here in the UK that's our standard audio level meter. But of course you can also see that there are a range of other scales. So if I just move the preference settings out of the way a little bit, you can see that we've got the EBU scale, we've got the Nordic scale, we've got the DIN scale, and also the BBC scale. So all those scales are available, and then you can also choose how it displays. Now currently I've got it on a horizontal stereo and MS bar graph. So we've got left and right, then the sum, the mono, and then the difference showing how much stereo information there is in the audio. But you have a range of ways that you can display it. You can display it as needles, which of course is what you would normally expect to see on a conventional desk. You can also display them vertically, so we can have the meters set vertically, and you'll also notice that you can resize it. So if you want it smaller or bigger, then you can resize it, but of course you're always constrained with the Avid header for the plugin. So it's one of the reasons why I tend to go for the horizontal setting. So if we go back into the display, and then I'll set it for horizontal, stereo and MS. And as you can see that I can resize that, and that's really useful. So that's what the PPMulator Plus would have. But with the PPMulator XL, we now have a second option. So if I go into my plugin menu here, and we go into multi-channel native Zplane PPMulator 3, now what I've done is create a second instance. I have a default setting so that whenever I create an instance of PPMulator, it always produces this horizontal bar graph setting. So if I go again back into the plus, and we go back into the type, and this time I'm going to choose EBU R128 loudness. So now I have a loudness meter as well as my PPMulator. So using my two instances, I've got PPM, a quasi PPM set to the BBC spec, and then a loudness meter set to the EBU R128. So now when I go into record on the track, I've got a loudness meter which is giving me all the useful information. So this meter here is the momentary loudness. We've then got the short-term integration, so the average loudness over the last 3 seconds with the EBU R128 standard. Different standards have slightly different settings. And then the integrated, this is the average loudness over the whole program to date. And this is the one that we're aiming for. And the way currently we have it set there is to set it to 0. So if I can switch it over, then that's giving me the actual LUFS. And of course with EBU R128, I'm looking for a -23 figure as the finished figure for my program. But there's also another setting here. You can flip the display, and you can display the data in a series of numbers. So here we've now got loudness range, so we've got our integrated figure, which of course we had over here, and then we've got 2 other bits of crucial information: the loudness range, giving us an indication of how much dynamic range there is in a program, and then also a key one here, the maximum true peak, because again it's critical that with different standards the maximum true peak varies. So again we can see here what the true peak level is. So we can go back to the normal display. I can still have my PPMs, but of course with loudness and with the ability for true peak levels to go up to -2 or -1 dBFS, this now really is not a critical meter for me to use when I'm mixing programs to the new loudness specs. But of course, for a lot of us that have been in the broadcast world for a long time, this is our preferred meter. It's what we've grown up on, it's what we've used to interpret audio level, and so it's still a nice comfort zone to have around with us. So with the PPMulator XL, we've got the option for the different quasi-peak meter standards, and then we've got the main two loudness specs here. EBU R128 loudness, and then the two ATSC A85 specs, the 2009 and now the more contemporary one, the 2013 loudness spec. So again, you've got the key loudness settings there available for you in PPMulator. And of course, the PPMulator, the other really good fact is that it is very cost effective. Normally it's around the sort of £90 sterling. So when you look at the prices of some of the other loudness meters, it's very cost effective. It's also got a logging feature, so you can use this to log overs. So again, that's something that perhaps you would normally expect to find on some of the very expensive meters, but it is there for you. And we can calibrate it, so we can check our reference level again with the BBC PPM. My reference level for PPM4 is -18 dBFS. Because I'm delivering programs to the BBC, then I have the mono meter, the M, is left plus right -3 dBs. If I was delivering programs in the UK here to ITV or to commercial radio, then I would need to meter it in M6, so L plus R -6. Again, two slightly different standards, and you've got both of them there in the PPMulator XL. So a really useful little meter package, very cost effective. Our good old faithful PPM metering available as a plug-in, and also now a loudness meter which enables us to measure the loudness to the two main loudness standards. I'll see you again soon.